Before you spend your next quarter, you might want to take a closer look at it, because some ordinary-looking coins could actually be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In today's video, we're going to explore 4 fascinating American quarters that many people overlook every day. These coins were minted decades ago and quietly circulated through the pockets, wallets, and cash registers of millions of Americans. Most people use them without ever realizing they were holding a small piece of history. What makes these coins truly interesting is not just their age, but their silver content, historical background, and rarity in high condition. Some of these quarters were minted during important periods in American history, and over time they have become highly collectible among coin enthusiasts. Even more surprising, certain well-preserved examples of these coins have sold at auctions for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially when they are found in beautiful mint state condition. In this video, we'll take a closer look at 4 different quarters, explore the stories behind them, learn what makes them collectible, and most importantly, discover how much they could be worth today. So make sure to watch until the end, because one of these coins might already be sitting in your collection, a coin jar, or even in your pocket change, and you may not even realize it. Let's get started. Coin number 1, 1934 Washington quarter. Sometimes the most fascinating treasures are not locked away in vaults or buried deep underground. Instead, they quietly sit inside old drawers, coin jars, or forgotten collections, small pieces of metal that once moved through every day. Life can later become valuable collectibles. One such coin that continues to attract collectors and historians is the 1934 Washington quarter. At first glance, this coin may appear to be just another old American quarter, but behind its silver surface lies a powerful story connected to one of the most difficult economic periods in United States history. The 1934 Washington quarter was minted during the height of the Great Depression, a time when millions of Americans struggled to find work and support their families. During the early 1930s, the American economy was suffering deeply. Banks had collapsed, businesses had closed, and unemployment had reached alarming levels. For many families, every coin mattered. A single quarter during that time could buy groceries, a warm meal, or basic necessities. Silver coins like the Washington quarter played an important role in everyday survival. The Washington quarter itself was still relatively new when the 1934 version was produced. The design was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Initially, the coin was meant to be a temporary commemorative issue. However, the design quickly became popular among the public, and the government decided to keep it as the permanent design. For the $quarter coin, the portrait of George Washington on the front of the coin was designed by sculptor John Flanagan. His design shows Washington facing left with a calm and dignified expression. Above his head appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." The word liberty is displayed along the upper edge of the coin, representing one of America's most important ideals. At the bottom of the coin, the year 1934 marks the moment this piece of history entered circulation. Collectors often study the details of Washington's portrait carefully. The sharpness of the hair above his ear, the clarity of the lettering, and the overall strength of the design can reveal how much wear the coin has experienced over the decades. Turning the coin over reveals a bold and patriotic design. The reverse side features a powerful American eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle stands proudly on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and the nation's readiness to defend itself. Beneath the arrows are olive branches, representing peace and diplomacy. Above the eagle are the words, "United States of America," and below appears the denomination $quarter. This classic design has remained one of the most recognizable images in American coinage history. One of the most important reasons collectors value the 1934 Washington quarter is its metal composition. Unlike modern quarters, which are made from copper and nickel, this coin contains 90% silver and 10% copper. During the early 20th century, silver was commonly used in American coins, giving them both historical and intrinsic value. Because of this silver content, even worn examples of the 1934 Washington quarter remain desirable today. Collectors and investors alike appreciate these coins not only for their historical significance but also for the precious metal they contain. The 1934 Washington quarter was produced at 2 major United States mint facilities. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint struck coins with a small D mint mark on the reverse side. While both versions are collectible, the Denver Mint issue is sometimes considered slightly tougher to find in higher grades. Collectors building complete Washington quarter. Sets often search carefully for well-preserved examples from both mints. When evaluating a coin like the 1934 Washington quarter, collectors pay attention to several key factors. The first and most important factor is condition. Coins that circulated heavily during the 1930s usually show wear on Washington's hair and on the eagle's feathers. Another factor collectors look for is mint luster. When coins are freshly struck at the mint, they have a bright shine created during the striking process. If a coin has been carefully preserved over the years, it may still display that original luster. Surface quality also plays a major role in determining value. Scratches, damage, or signs of harsh cleaning can significantly reduce a coin's desirability. Most serious collectors prefer coins that have original, untouched surfaces. Value of the 1934 Washington quarter. Now let's talk about the part that excites collectors the most: the value. Because the 1934 Washington quarter contains 90% silver, even heavily circulated examples still have a base value tied to their silver content. A well-worn coin that has spent decades in circulation may typically sell for around $7 to $15, depending on the current silver price. However, coins found in better condition can be worth significantly more. A 1934 quarter in fine to very fine condition can usually sell for around $20 to $45. Coins graded in extremely fine condition, where much of the original design detail remains visible, can sell for approximately $60 to $120. But the real excitement begins when the coin is found in uncirculated condition. These coins were never heavily used and still show much of their original mint shine. A Mint State 63 example of the 1934 Washington quarter can sell for around $200 to $350. Higher quality examples graded MS65 Gem Mint State can reach prices between $800 and $1,500, depending on the coin's eye appeal and strike quality. And in rare cases, when a coin survives in superb gem condition, some examples have sold at major auctions for over $15,275. This dramatic difference in value highlights one of the most important lessons in coin collecting. Condition changes everything. The same coin that might sell for just a few dollars in worn condition can become worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars if it survives the decades in exceptional shape. Beyond its monetary value, the 1934 Washington quarter carries a powerful historical connection. Every coin from that year was minted during a time when the United States was trying to recover from economic collapse. Families were rebuilding their lives, communities were adapting to new challenges, and the country itself was slowly finding its way back to stability. Holding a coin from 1934 is like holding a small witness to that history. It reminds us that even the simplest objects can carry powerful stories across generations. For modern collectors, the 1934 Washington quarter represents more than just silver and metal. It represents resilience, perseverance, and the passage of time. Coins like this connect us directly to the people who lived through one of the most important periods in American history. And that is part of what makes coin collecting so fascinating. A small coin that once passed quietly through everyday transactions can eventually become a valuable historical artifact. So the next time you come across an old silver quarter, take a moment to examine it carefully. Look at the date, check the mint mark, and study the details, because hidden within a simple coin could be a remarkable piece of history and possibly a valuable treasure waiting to be discovered. Coin number 2, 1934 to D Washington quarter. Sometimes the most valuable treasures are not hidden in museums or locked inside bank vaults. Instead, they quietly exist in old collections, coin jars, or even pocket change. Many people pass these coins every day without realizing their historical significance or potential value. One such coin that continues to attract attention from collectors is the 1934 D Washington quarter. At first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary American quarter, but when collectors notice the small D mint mark, they immediately recognize that it was struck at the Denver Mint. Coins produced in Denver during the early years of the Washington quarter series can sometimes be more difficult to find in higher grades, which makes them particularly interesting to collectors today. The 1934 D Washington quarter was minted during one of the most challenging periods in American history, the Great Depression. During the early 1930s, the United States economy was struggling severely. Millions of Americans were unemployed, businesses were closing, and families across the country were facing financial hardship. During that time, even a small amount of money could make a difference in daily life. A quarter in the 1930s had real purchasing power. It could buy groceries, a meal, or basic supplies. Because of this, coins like the 1934 D Washington quarter, circulated heavily and were used constantly in everyday transactions. This heavy circulation is one of the reasons why well-preserved examples of this coin are harder to find today. The beginning of the Washington quarter design. The Washington quarter design itself was still relatively new when the 1934 D coin was produced. The design first appeared in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. What began as a commemorative coin quickly became a permanent design due to its popularity among the public. The front of the coin features a portrait of George Washington facing left. This portrait was created by sculptor John Flanagan, whose design captured a calm and dignified image of the first President of the United States. Above Washington's head appears the famous national motto, "In God We Trust." The word liberty is displayed prominently along the top edge of the coin, while the year 1934 appears at the bottom. Collectors often examine the portrait area carefully when grading the coin. Details such as the hair above, Washington's ear, and the clarity of the facial features help determine how much wear the coin has experienced. Reverse design. The reverse side of the 1934 D Washington quarter features a powerful American symbol, the eagle. The eagle is shown with its wings spread wide, standing on a bundle of arrows. The arrows symbolize strength and the nation's readiness to defend itself. Beneath the arrows are olive branches, which represent peace. Above the eagle are the words, United States of America, and below appears the denomination quarter dollar. Just below the wreath on the reverse side is where collectors will find the small D mint mark, indicating that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Silver content. One of the most important features of the 1934 D Washington quarter is its metal composition. Unlike modern quarters, this coin was made using 90% silver and 10% copper. This means that even worn examples of the coin still contain real precious metal value. Silver coins from this era are always appealing to collectors and investors because they combine historical significance with intrinsic metal value. For many collectors, owning silver coins from the early 20th century is like holding a small piece of American history. Why the 1934 D version is special. While millions of Washington quarters were produced in the 1930s, many of them circulated heavily during the Depression years. Because of this, coins that survived in excellent condition are much harder to find today. The 1934 D Washington quarter is especially desirable in higher grades because fewer coins from the Denver Mint remained well preserved. Collectors searching for a complete Washington quarter set often look carefully for high-quality examples of this coin. Value of the 1934 D Washington quarter. Now let's talk about the most exciting part, the value of the coin today. Because the 1934 D Washington quarter contains 90% silver, even heavily worn examples still have value based on their silver content. A coin that shows significant wear from circulation may typically sell for around $8 to $18 depending on the silver market. However, coins in better condition can be worth much more. A 1934 D Washington quarter in fine to very fine condition can sell for approximately $30 to $60. Coins graded extremely fine, where most of the original design details remain sharp, can reach prices between $82 and $150. But the value rises dramatically when the coin is found in uncirculated condition. A Mint State 63 example can sell for around $300 to $500. Higher grade coins graded MS65 Gem Mint State can easily sell for $1,500 to $3,000 depending on the coin's luster and eye appeal. And in rare cases, exceptionally preserved examples have been known to sell for over $21,000 at major auctions. Once again, this shows one of the most important lessons in coin collecting. Condition changes everything. The same coin that might sell for only a few dollars in worn condition can become worth thousands of dollars if it survives in exceptional shape. A coin that carries history. Beyond its monetary value, the 1934 D Washington quarter represents an important period in American history. It was minted during a time when the country was struggling to recover from economic collapse. Yet people continued to work, rebuild, and move forward. Every coin from that era passed through the hands of real people who lived through those difficult years. Today, when collectors hold a 1934 D Washington quarter, they are not just holding silver. They are holding a small piece of the past, a reminder of resilience, perseverance, and the passage of time. And that is what makes coin collecting so fascinating. A small coin that once bought a simple meal during the Great Depression can now be a valuable historical treasure. So the next time you come across an old silver quarter, take a closer look. check the date and search for the mint mark. Because that small d mint mark could turn an ordinary coin into a collectible worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Coin number 3, 1955 D Washington Quarter. Sometimes the coins we overlook the most can turn out to be surprisingly valuable. Many people assume that only extremely old coins are worth money, but that is not always the case. Some mid-20th century coins have become highly collectible due to their silver content, historical background, and condition. One such coin that has gained attention among collectors is the 1955 D Washington Quarter. At first glance, the 1955 D Washington Quarter may look like a typical American quarter from the past. However, collectors quickly notice the small D mint mark, which tells us the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Coins produced at different mints sometimes have different survival rates in high condition, which can make certain versions more valuable than others. The year 1955 was a fascinating time in American history. The country was experiencing economic growth after World War II. New technologies were emerging. Families were buying homes in growing suburbs, and the American economy was expanding rapidly. During this period, coins like the Washington Quarter were used daily for everything from grocery shopping to public transportation. Because these coins were used constantly in circulation, many of them experienced wear over time. This is why finding a well-preserved example today can be exciting for collectors. The Washington Quarter design. The Washington Quarter design first appeared in 1932, originally created to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. What was meant to be a temporary commemorative design soon became permanent because people loved its appearance. The obverse, or front side, of the coin features a portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The portrait was designed by sculptor John Flanagan, whose work captured a dignified and respectful image of Washington facing left. Above Washington's head appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." The word liberty is displayed along the top edge of the coin, while the year 1955 appears at the bottom. Collectors often examine several details on this side of the coin when determining its condition. The sharpness of Washington's hair, the clarity of the lettering, and the overall strength of the design can reveal how much wear the coin has experienced over the years. Reverse design. Turning the coin over reveals one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage. The reverse features a strong American eagle standing proudly with its wings spread wide. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, representing the nation's strength and readiness to defend itself. Beneath the arrows are olive branches, symbolizing peace. Above the eagle appear the words, United States of America. Below the design is the denomination quarter dollar. If you look closely beneath the wreath on the reverse side, you will find the small D mint mark, which confirms that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. Silver composition. One of the most important features of the 1955 D Washington Quarter is its metal composition. Unlike modern quarters, which are made from copper and nickel, this coin was struck using 90% silver and 10% copper. For many decades, silver was the standard metal used for American dimes, quarters, and half dollars. Because of this silver content, even worn examples of the 1955 D Washington Quarter still have intrinsic value. Collectors and investors often seek out silver coins from this era because they combine historical significance with precious metal value. In fact, many people search through old coin collections specifically looking for silver quarters produced before 1965, since that was the year when the United States stopped using silver in circulating quarters. Why collectors like the 1955 D quarter? Although millions of Washington quarters were produced during the 1950s, most of them circulated heavily in everyday commerce. As a result, coins that remained in excellent condition are much harder to find today. The 1955 D Washington Quarter is particularly desirable in high grades because collectors building complete Washington quarter sets often search for strong, well-preserved examples from each year and mint. When a coin survives decades with minimal wear, strong detail, and original mint luster, it becomes much more attractive to collectors. Value of the 1955 D Washington Quarter. Now let's talk about the most exciting part, the value of the coin today. Since the 1955 D Washington Quarter contains 90% silver, even heavily circulated examples still carry a base value based on their silver content. A worn coin that has spent many years in circulation may typically sell for around $6 to $12, depending on the current silver price. However, coins found in better condition can be worth considerably more. A 1955 D quarter in fine to very fine condition can sell for around 15 to 35. Coins graded extremely fine, where most design details remain sharp and clear, may sell for approximately $40 to $80. But the real excitement begins when the coin is found in uncirculated condition. A mint state 63 example can sell for roughly $120 to $250 depending on its luster and overall appearance. Higher grade coins graded MS65 gem mint state can reach prices between $600 and $200. And in rare cases, when a coin survives in exceptional condition, with strong eye appeal and nearly perfect surfaces, some examples have sold at major auctions for over $7,000. This dramatic jump in value highlights one of the most important lessons in coin collecting. Condition changes everything. The same coin that might sell for only a few dollars in worn condition can become worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars if it survives the decades in exceptional shape. A small coin with a big story. Beyond its value, the 1955 D Washington quarter represents an important moment in American history. It comes from a time when the United States was growing rapidly, industries were expanding, and new opportunities were shaping the future of the country. Every coin minted during that year passed through countless hands, used for shopping, transportation, and daily purchases. Today, these coins remind collectors of that era and preserve a small piece of American heritage. That is what makes coin collecting so fascinating. A small coin that once paid for a simple purchase, decades ago can later become a valuable collectible with both historical and financial significance. So the next time you come across an old silver quarter, take a closer look at the date and mint mark, because that small detail, like the D mint mark on a 1955 quarter, could turn an ordinary coin into a collectible worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Coin number 4, 1956 D Washington quarter. Sometimes the most valuable coins are the ones people least expect. Many old coins quietly pass from hand to hand for decades, eventually ending up in jars, drawers, or forgotten collections. While they may appear ordinary at first glance, some of these coins carry hidden historical and collector value. One coin that often surprises collectors is the 1956 D Washington quarter. At first glance, the 1956 D Washington quarter looks like a typical silver quarter from the mid-20th century. However, collectors quickly notice the small D mint mark, which indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Coins from different mint facilities can have different survival rates in high condition, which can influence their desirability among collectors. The year 1956 was part of a period of strong economic growth in the United States. The country was expanding rapidly after World War II, industries were booming, and American families were experiencing a new era of prosperity. During this time, coins like the Washington quarter were used constantly in everyday life. Quarters were especially important because they were commonly used for vending machines, parking meters, transportation, and small purchases. Because of this heavy use, many coins from the 1950s experienced significant wear over time. This is one reason why collectors get excited when they find well-preserved examples today. The Washington quarter design. The Washington quarter design first appeared in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was originally intended to be a one-year commemorative coin, but its popularity led the United States Mint to adopt it permanently. The front side of the coin features a portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. This portrait was created by sculptor John Flanagan, who based his work on a famous bust of Washington, created by the French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon. Washington is shown facing left with a calm and dignified expression. Above his portrait appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." The word liberty is displayed across the top of the coin, while the year 1956 appears below the portrait. Collectors carefully examine the details of this portrait when grading the coin. The sharpness of Washington's hair, the clarity of the lettering, and the overall strength of the design help determine how much wear the coin has experienced over time. Reverse design. The reverse side of the 1956 D Washington quarter features a strong and patriotic image that has become one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage. At the center of the design is a powerful American eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle stands proudly on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Below the arrows are olive branches, which represent peace. Together, these elements communicate a message of both strength and diplomacy. Above the eagle appear the words, United States of America. Below the design is the denomination $quarter. Just beneath the wreath on the reverse side is the small D mint mark. confirming that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Silver composition. One of the most important features of the 1956D Washington quarter is its metal composition. Unlike modern quarters produced today, this coin was made using 90% silver and 10% copper. For much of American history, silver was the standard metal used in circulating coins such as dimes, quarters, and half dollars. Because of this silver content, even worn examples of the 1956D Washington quarter still carry intrinsic value based on the precious metal they contain. Collectors and investors often search specifically for coins minted before 1965, since that was the year when the United States Mint removed silver from circulating quarters. This makes coins like the 1956D quarter especially interesting to collectors today. Why collectors like the 1956D quarter? Although millions of Washington quarters were produced during the 1950s, most of them were used heavily in daily commerce. As a result, many coins from this era show clear signs of circulation. Coins that survived in high condition with strong detail, bright surfaces, and original mint luster are much harder to find today. For collectors building complete Washington quarter sets, the 1956D Washington quarter is an important coin to include. High-grade examples are especially attractive because they show the coin exactly as it appeared when it first left the mint. Value of the 1956D Washington quarter. Now let's talk about the part that excites collectors the most, the value. Because the 1956D Washington quarter contains 90% silver, even coins that are heavily worn still have a base value linked to the silver market. A well-worn example that has spent many years in circulation may typically sell for around $6 to $12, depending on the current silver price. However, coins found in better condition can be worth significantly more. A 1956D quarter in fine to very fine condition can sell for approximately 15 to 35. Coins graded extremely fine, where most of the design details remain visible and sharp, can reach prices between $40 and $90. But the real excitement begins when the coin is found in uncirculated condition. A Mint State 63 example can sell for around $120 to $250, depending on the coin's luster and eye appeal. Higher quality coins, graded MS65 Gem Mint State, can reach prices between $700 and $4,300. In rare cases, when a coin survives in exceptional condition, with beautiful surfaces and strong luster, some examples have sold at auction for over $10,000. This dramatic difference in value highlights one of the most important lessons in coin collecting. Condition changes everything. The same coin that might sell for only a few dollars in worn condition can become worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars if it survives the decades in exceptional shape. A small coin that represents history. Beyond its value, the 1956D Washington quarter represents a fascinating period in American history. It was minted during a time of economic growth, technological progress, and expanding opportunities in the United States. Every coin from that year passed through the hands of countless people, helping power the everyday economy of the country. Today, collectors appreciate these coins, not only for their silver content, but also for the stories they represent. That is one of the reasons coin collecting continues to grow in popularity. A simple coin that once paid for a small purchase decades ago can later become a collectible piece of history. So the next time you find an old silver quarter, take a moment to examine it closely. Look at the date, check the mint mark, and study the details. Because a coin like the 1956D Washington quarter could be more than just spare change. It could be a small silver treasure worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars.